Hello, welcome to this week's edition of the All Things Georgia call-in show, presented by UGAsports.com. I'm Paul Maharry, joined alongside me, as always, Andy Stowe and Eddie from Acworth. We appreciate you guys tuning in with us as we do each and every week. If you're watching, let us know where you're watching from. Go ahead and put it into the comments section. We'll shout you out. And if you have any questions at all, we'd love to answer those for you as well. Guys, a little bit somber today, obviously coming off of that loss last night for Georgia, and then finding out that they finished 6th in the college football playoff. Doesn't sit right with me, boys, but we'll go around the horn and we can kind of discuss who got in, who didn't get in. I had a tweet that I sent out, and I think I made pretty good sense of all of this, and we'll discuss that. But gentlemen, before we get started, Eddie, I see you've made it out of bed. I'm glad that you were able to make it out of bed. Are you doing better today than you were last night?
Well, I had my son's 24th birthday today, my middle son, so we just finished celebrating that with the girlfriends. Everybody was here. We had a nice evening, ate together, watched Elf, kind of kicked off the Christmas season, so that was cathartic. My boys, for the most part, don't really care about sports. Somewhat. I mean, Clay, my middle one, that had the birthday.
As big of a fan as you are, your kids.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. But my middle one is a huge Braves fan, so we have that in common. And he does keep up with the Dawgs. So, but the other two could care less. It's kind of ironic. You just never know with kids. You know, you can't control what they like and do. So
my nephew, he's like that. My brother-in-law, he's as big a fan. He's like us. You know, he's constantly reading, watching. You know, that's all he thinks about, and how he does not care one thing about it.
I mean, my wife was trying to explain to my oldest son, well, you know, Georgia didn't make it in the playoffs. He's like, oh, they lost yesterday. Who cares? I mean, it's just like, I'm like, oh my God.
That might not work.
And you know what? I wish that I had his mindset right now. That's kind of what I feel. But I guess I'll start with the big picture, Paul, since you didn't ask about the game specifics last night. And I'll start with a couple of questions that I've been rolling around in my brain since yesterday and today. So my first for you guys is, if you reverse a couple of uniforms, I want you guys to reverse the uniform from FSU to Clemson. If that was Clemson and Cade Klubnik had been hurt 2 weeks ago or how many weeks ago, does Clemson get in? And I say yes, they do. The second thing, guys, for y'all, let's reverse Georgia and Bama. If Bama was Georgia this year, and Bama did exactly what Georgia did and lost by 3 and had been rated number 1 all year long, does Bama get in? And I think they do.
Yeah, Andy, we started off with a question, so I didn't even get to ask you how you're doing. So you can answer the questions and let us know how you're doing too, because you didn't show up last night, Andy.
No. I watched the game at my dad's house, and then so I was down there, and I just hung
out. Sorry to start it that way, but that's what's been going through my head all day. So
I'm you know, like I said, it sucks, and it's if this would have been 4 or 5 years ago, it would have been a lot worse. But we do have 2 national championships.
No, that's true.
That takes some of the sting away, so it's not, you know, like in 2012 that was terrible, and in 2018 when we come up just short, that was terrible. But we got 2 in the pocket, so I'm not going to go Peter Pan off the roof, but it still sucks. It's been a sad day. And then, of course, everybody, I'll be at church and they'll be like, oh, so what happened to your dogs? Ha, ha, ha. I'm like, shut up. You know, so that sucks. To answer your question about, I haven't thought about Clemson. That's a good question. Clemson currently has that name value, but, you know, FSU has that historical name value. So I don't know, but I think with Clemson's current name value, they probably get in. But
right.
And that's a good question about Georgia. If it was Georgia, like would Georgia, if they did the same thing, would they get in? I don't think so. Just because it's not Alabama. So I'm with you on that. I think you're right. I think Clemson would get in, and I think Bama would have gotten, or Georgia would not have gotten in. Yeah.
So to kind of piggyback off that question, I tweeted this out today, and this is what's been on my mind. Same thing kind of as Eddie, in a different scenario though. The committee told us that it was going to be the best 4 teams, and they told us it's going to be the most deserving 4 teams, right? So there's this the best is quantified. I don't know how you quantify best, and I also don't really know how you quantify most deserving. I can understand most deserving a little bit more than best.
Yeah.
But what ended up happening, guys, is they went against both of those, and they kind of merged those two together with best and most deserving. With best, they put Bama in. They left out Georgia, though, who I think, if we're looking at best, they're favored against every team that's in this college football playoff. So if you're truly looking at the best 4 teams, I'm not saying to take Alabama out. I've gotten responses on Twitter saying, well, then what are you going to do with that? I'm not saying take Alabama out.
Right.
Take Washington out. They're the one that's the lowest of the teams in terms of power ratings, in terms of all of that. They're the lowest of the lowest. Sorry, sucks to suck.
Okay, let me ask you guys this. Off the top of your head right now, just quick. Paul, you first, then Eddie. Who's the best 4 teams in football right now?
Best 4 teams: Georgia, Bama, Texas, and Michigan.
Eddie?
Yeah, I'd probably say the same. Just based off body of work and what they've done all year.
If we're going off of best, those are the 4 best teams. Now we're going to move the goalposts a little bit, guys. We're going to go most deserving. And now you've got Washington in there. They won the Pac-12. But if you're going most deserving, then Alabama should not be in there.
Nope.
They got beat by Texas and at home, and FSU is undefeated. Yes, I get it. They don't have their quarterback, but that doesn't matter. You can't tell me. And people are saying, oh, well, you don't want to watch them get beat by 40 against Michigan. Who the hell knows if that's going to happen? They went 13-0 though. Let them in.
Yeah,
let them show that. Hell, y'all let TCU in and they lost 65-7 in the national title game. Nobody stopped that from happening.
Right. And TCU lost their championship game too. That's what everybody forgetting.
That's right. And they still got in.
It's a combination, and it's unfortunate. It's extremely unfortunate for Georgia fans and Florida State fans. And I mean, you could even maybe throw in Ohio State if you really wanted to. I don't think you can, but those two.
No.
And, and what ends up happening is, you're 1 year away from a 12-man playoff, which this year would have been the perfect year for it. And you combined best and most deserving, and you came up with this mash of teams in there that you think everybody wants to watch. But in reality, I think besides anybody that lives in the state of Alabama, everybody's upset for Florida State.
Yeah,
you can't. You go undefeated. I get you lost your quarterback. You go undefeated though.
But when has an injury ever played into this decision to make the playoffs or not? Has that ever even? This is a unique situation. I get it. That Jordan Travis is elite. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the nation, and he's injured. But I thought everything was about next man up, and we just keep going forward. And have y'all read what Norvell wrote today about? I mean, he eviscerated, and rightly so, eviscerated the NCAA for their decision. And I thought it was absolutely ridiculous to punish a team for going 13-0, beating 2 teams away from their house, Power 5 conference teams. They beat them.
2 SEC teams.
That's right. They beat 2 SEC teams on the road. And Bama has a loss. Bama should be out. FSU should be in. Granted, I'm biased, but my God, if they're going to do anything consistently, it's based off record and what you've done. Does the regular season mean anything anymore? After this, it doesn't.
No.
And then you look at it, no, not one time. How long has the playoff been around? Any 10 plus years now?
Yeah, 2014 was the first year. Yeah.
So about 10 years. Not once has the number 1 team going into the conference championships games been dropped out of the top 4, and Georgia gets bumped to 6. I get it. Now let's dive into this this Georgia side of it, because we can feel bad for FSU, but they're on the outside looking in, and they're the next opponent for Georgia.
And not once has ever a team that was ranked 8 jumped into the top 4.
Exactly.
To add insult to injury.
6th was the highest before, I think.
Right. That's exactly right.
Hey, Garrett, that's a great question. I'm going to get to that, I promise. It's for Eddie. We'll get to it in a little bit. The problem is, though, you've said all year long that Georgia was by far the superior team. Georgia lost a game. They lost a 3-point game on a neutral site. And if you really look at it, and I'm not one to blame the refs. Exactly. I'm not. I do not do it. I used to do it. I used to referee. I used to umpire big-time games. It's tough. That play right there, and you could even argue for Kirby to have called a timeout there, right? If Kirby sees it, if somebody sees it in the booth, they might need to call a timeout. And we're talking about the Isaiah Bond catch, right?
Yeah.
The player grades are in, guys, over on UGAsports.com if you guys want to take a look at those. I just got those put up just recently for you. The problem here lies, though, is you lose one game. Alabama lost at home to Texas. So you're getting punished for losing the championship game, whereas had you lost a game in week 2, you can have been that loss. Tell me where that makes sense, Eddie.
It doesn't make any sense. And you mentioned that, Paul, because I was going to bring this up tonight. So we all gave Kirby credit last year for one of the most brilliant timeouts in the history of college football against Ohio State when they faked the punt and he saw something wrong and he ran up and called timeout. Where was the timeout on that Isaiah Bond catch? I'll do that right there because it should have been reviewed. It wasn't. You got to call a timeout there. You got to. So, the refs didn't review it, but that's partly on Kirby, and he blew that.
I agree with you on that, but the problem is they did not review that where it was clearly questionable. And then see Arian Smith, there was it was
a complete waste of time. That was a waste of time.
I think they did it to slow down our momentum. They were trying to make it where we couldn't get up to the ball and keep going because they knew that we were going to score. And
I had some buddies over last night for the game because I can't go anywhere, right? I start the show 2 minutes after the game ends. So if anybody wants to hang out with me, they got to come over here. So we had some friends over, and I looked at them for a second. I said, maybe Sankey is just like, let Bama win, and I can get 2 teams in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Obviously that's not what he's doing, right? But it ran through my head.
Sure.
It makes you wonder when stuff like that happens.
And it was like, maybe he thinks he can get 2 teams into the playoff in the SEC, and it kind of backfired. Obviously, that's not the case, and I don't want anybody to run with that. But that's where your mind goes when you're watching these games.
When you're watching horse collars when he's clearly not. That's not a horse collar. When you see face masks, they get jerked and they don't even call it. You start wondering, like, okay, and where is the SEC office at? Where's it located?
It's in Birmingham. Yeah,
it is in Birmingham. How about that? So just saying.
Yeah, there was a lot that went on in that game last night that you can look back on. But also there's a lot that Georgia kind of shot themselves in the foot. They tried to get cute down there with the reverse. And while the actual play call, if you look at it from a bird's eye view from the all 22, where he was gone. He was going to run. He was going to run along. The execution on that play didn't happen. So Tresman Marshall, of all people,
and Jermaine Burton with his
touchdown. Of all people fall on the ball, right? Foster says it's hard to overcome Saban's deal with the devil as well. Shaking my head. Look, there were calls that Georgia put themselves in bad spots, and that's just what it was.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there was also some.
You say all that, Paul. You know what led up to that, though? Mekhi Muse, I told you guys, he fair caught the ball on the 5. What are you doing? You were taught to put your feet on the 10, and if the ball goes over your head, you don't move. And he fair caught the ball on the 5, and that led to that fumble right there. Sorry,
what happened
can't do that.
What happened after that?
Yeah, well, he got replaced.
He got replaced.
And that was awesome. I thought that guy saved our season, Evans.
I did too. I was like, holy crap. I was like, this freshman is going to come in and say he's going to score.
I had buddies texting me like, who is this kid? Because they don't follow. I mean, he hasn't played much at all.
Right.
And they're like, who is this? I have friends over that are huge Georgia fans. Like, who is this kid? I'm like, 4-star wide receiver freshman from Texas. Like, man, why hasn't he been back there the whole time? What they did was they did the fake punt. And I'm sure Film Don't Lie probably will go over it. I don't know if they will. What they did was, if you saw it, and Muse was back there and so was Evans. And so they faked it to where Muse was going back to catch the punt. They had half the Alabama defense special teams running over to Muse to cover him. That's how Evans was able to get that ball so clean. It's one of those great special teams draw-ups that you don't see very often. You bring it out in the big games. Going back to this question from Garrett Key, because this is a great question here. He says, Eddie, question for you. After the Tennessee game, you mentioned this is the most enjoyable season and team you've watched, even over the 21 squad. Same thoughts after last night. That's That's a tough question.
Well, I mean, that's a great question, Garrett. I really appreciate it. And of course, it ended last night. I mean, this has been the most enjoyable, but you got to, I said that all along. I did say that, to be fair. This is the most enjoyable season over the past two, but you got to finish the deal. You got to three-peat. Okay. You can't do what we did last night. And by the way, that was probably the worst game we played all year last night. It absolutely was.
It was close.
It was terrible. We looked panicked. And the problem with it, guys, is we came out, and I said to my wife after that first drive, I said, that's the best drive I've seen since Oregon. We decimated Bama, and they're already on their heels. And then the next two times we got the ball, 3 and out. Yeah. You get minimum 2 field goals there, 6 more points. The game is over. We win that game going away, and we did nothing with that 7-point lead. That's where the game was lost. But that great question, Garrett, and it was my favorite up until last night because they absolutely they peed on themselves last night. That's what happened.
It's kind of like the Braves, they had like this year's been so fun, but then they flamed out. So it's about
that's right. I mean, are we gonna go back and watch the Braves from last year and just go crazy? I mean, Acuna's season was epic. It was MVP worthy, but it got us nothing. Right. I mean,
somebody said Michael Howard over on Facebook says this is the problem with the NCAA. It's a very corrupt system. It's never going to change. I'm okay with Georgia being out, but Florida State won with a third-string quarterback. Yeah, I mean, I can only imagine what Florida State fans are feeling right now.
Oh man, I can't imagine it.
Yeah. They've got to. I mean, you won every game. You won every game. Your quarterback.
What else can you do?
I mean, your quarterback went out, Eddie and Andy. So your backup comes in. Then your backup comes in and he does work, and then he goes out.
I mean, Ohio State did it too. They had a third-string quarterback come in and win the national title. So that was one of the things I thought that they might say, hey, you know what? We're basing it on the team, not the actual player. But they decided to base it on the player.
What was the final score last night? I'm trying to pull it up of the FSU game. Well, do you know off the top of your head, Andy? I'm looking it up. I'm sorry. Okay, 16-6.
16. Okay, okay.
Paul's frozen, so we'll just keep going.
Yeah.
If they win that game 35-6. Are they in?
What if they score 7 more? What if they get 16-6? So what if they get another touchdown? Okay.
Okay, so, fair. 23-6. Are they in based on that? I mean, is that where we're going with this?
Well, you think about it. I saw someone in the comments earlier say there's no. Let me see if I can find that. He said, I think he said there's no reason for a team to play a strong out of conference game now, and I disagree because what if Georgia? Let's hypothetically say we played Oklahoma and beat them. Mm-hmm. So now do we get in? Do we have a little bit more on our stringent schedule?
I don't think so. But here's the difference: if we played Oklahoma and lose and win last night, we're in. That's how stupid it is. Exactly. Right.
And think about it. What if we would have lost to Oklahoma, who is not as good of a team, and then lost to Oklahoma, who's not as good, and then beat Alabama, who's better. So
that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's just it's like they can't get their blinders off of what just happened, and the rest of the season seems to be meaningless. I mean, that I can't get past it. That's an absolute screw job for FSU. Absolute screw job.
I don't know if you heard us, but what if Florida State scored 7 more points? Do they get in then?
Because the final score was 16-6, Paul.
23-6. Does that get them in? Or what if they score 2 more to get to 30-6?
Right.
Does 30-6 do it for sure?
30-6 probably does it, right? 16 because look, if they're looking at that game last night for Florida State, that was a tough game to watch, boys. That was tough. But they were on their third string quarterback. Yeah. So there's certain things that, the committee saw, and to go undefeated in a Power 5 conference and not get in is crazy. This is also a crazy take. Puffin says, fire Bobo, move on. I don't think that's the problem. And there's a lot of folks that are upset at Bobo right now. There's this guy saying Bobo needs to go. That's not the case. It was a good game last night. There was bad plays, and Alabama's a really good team, So you're going up against a good team. We got James here in the waiting room. We'll bring in James. James, what's up, man?
Hey, James.
I'm still so pissed I had to come back again today. My wife, she's tired of me talking about the game to her, so I need to come talk to somebody.
Cathartic.
Yeah,
No
that's why
baby.
I'm
You don't have the baby tonight. That's what normally you have the baby with you. So.
She has the baby. She told me if I want to go on and go in the garage, so I'm in the garage right now.
I could see that. Yeah.
So where are you at? It's been 24 hours. Where's your head at now?
Two, I guess, different points where my head's at. I think the SEC screwed us. If we play Oklahoma and win, no one thinks Georgia's a worse team than Texas. But they could say, hey, that Alabama team you lost to, we went to their house and beat them. If we play Oklahoma, we can say, well, we went to the house of the team you lost to and we beat them. And then it's just who's a better team. So whether it does or does not get us in, it gives us a lot better chance. So I think the SEC hurt us there. And then,
wait. Let me stop you. So you're saying, James, if we had played Oklahoma like we were supposed to, and we beat them, and everything shakes out just like it is, we're in?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Over who?
Over Texas.
Ooh.
I disagree.
Yeah, I disagree too.
I don't think you can do transitive property of games. The transitive property of games is just kind of weird. But
that's what they try to do, though. They try to do the transitive property on games.
Yeah. But that's interesting, James. Go ahead.
And then, I hear everyone saying kind of Jalen Milroe is the best guy on the field. And I rewatched the game and I don't see it. Alabama, they averaged over 6 yards a carry on first down runs. And that's what Georgia's problem was, is they converted 1 3rd and 8. Outside of that, their longest conversion was 3rd and 2. So when Jalen Milroe had to throw the ball, he couldn't do it. Kirby just fielded a D line that could not stop the run. And he had 2nd and 3, 2nd and 2. We'd get a sack, get it longer. And I just thought this one was kind of on the coaches. I didn't think the players played much different than how they normally do. The game plan for me, we were talking about this could be the best Georgia offense of all time. I hear Roddy telling me that Dylan Bell is better than Ladd McConkey. And where did those guys go? I didn't see.
Give him the ball.
So that's the question I have for y'all. I was going to ask y'all that. We can clearly see Ladd McConkey was not – he was barely getting up on some plays. And Brock Bowers clearly could not do what he was supposed to do. Why not take him off the field? Why especially Ladd, because Ladd was hurting. Why is Dylan Bell not getting that ball? Why is Dominic Lovett not getting in there? We kept running him out there, and he was having to hobble off. Why not just go to someone else?
That's the $1 million question, Andy, because I think the coaches had a hard time going away from Ladd, even though he looked like he was at 60, 70%.
That's high. That's high.
Yeah, I would say
the one time they showed him though, and they were like, look, he's hobbling around. His route looked excellent. His footwork looked excellent. But he was falling down. I tweeted out during the game, I said, look, Brock Bowers and Ladd McConkey gave everything for this university.
They did.
Well, yeah, there's no doubting that. Those
two guys went out there. Ladd, he looked like he was going to be out. Next thing you know, he's back in on the next drive.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things in terms of, did the coaches think they could get away with it with Ladd? And I guess that they did, right? He played a good fair amount of snaps. I can give you the snaps here in just a second, but you look at it and that's what they were having to decide. They were having to decide, hey, do we go with Ladd here or do we go with Bell? And they made the decision to go with Ladd. I don't know if it necessarily hurt them. But I don't think it helped either. It wasn't a helpful thing there.
Yeah.
Well, James, you bring up the defense, but I'm gonna turn around to the offense because I don't think the offense helped the defense at all.
The offensive line played terrible.
Yeah, now part of that is Mims. I'll give him that.
Yeah,
Mims being out is huge, but I'll go back to that first series when we just decimated Alabama right down the field, and we scored 7, and then the next 3 and out. Your defense is already getting tired there in the first quarter, right? They're on the field again, and there's only so much they can do. The offense has got to produce, and if Ladd McConkey's at 50%, if Bowers is at 80%, hell, I saw C.J. Smith wide open on the right side when they made that great play to Arian Smith. You remember that? C.J. Smith was wide open, okay? So there's other players we can use.
He played one snap, C.J. Smith. That was the one play.
And that was it. And he was wide open for a touchdown.
So Ladd played in 27 plays. Rosemary Jackson, 33. You had Dylan Bell was in there for 50 plays. So Dylan
50
Bell
plays.
was in there.
50 plays.
Played
Holy
50 plays, yeah.
wow.
So that's kind of my
Yeah,
point.
Dylan Bell.
Bell was in the game. Lovett was in the game. Even when they were in the game, we weren't getting the ball to them.
Right,
And I'm
right.
going to push back on the O-line a little bit. That's a really good defense we played, and we got more sacks than they did. We were never going to run the ball on them. That's not our team. And I thought Carson had enough time to throw the ball. Guys just
Sure he did.
opened. Their DBs locked our guys down. And I think it scared Bobo and Kirby, and they went too conservative. And then when it was too late and you got to throw it, we started rattling off touchdowns. But we just kind of put ourselves in that hole offensively, and our defense, front seven, just never gave that offense really the chance to get back into it until it was a little too late.
Well, I'll say this: Alabama only had 306 total yards of offense. We had more. We had less rushing yards, but we had more passing. We had 321. So our defense played well enough to win the game.
Sure.
And did we get pressure? No, he was able to sit back there a lot, but we sacked him. How many sacks did we get? Was it 3 or 2? How many?
I think we had 3 sacks, didn't we?
Yeah, I was thinking 3, but regardless, we hit him some. So I think the defense played well enough to win the game, and we just couldn't.
Lori Stewart Gilmer says, "Why not play Lovett? I felt horrible for Ladd. Poor guy was calling over the field.
Yeah.
Lovett played 38 snaps, so these guys were in there. But so McConkey, he played 27 snaps. That was just above Arian Smith at 13.
That's probably 20 more than he should have played, in all honesty.
Yeah. So he wasn't out. It looked like he was out there a lot, but there was 62 total plays on offense for Georgia, and Ladd was in for less than half of those.
Okay, so how many times, and I'm going to say 3 because I don't know the total, Andy, you may know, on third and shorts, did we toss the ball? Did we toss the ball to the strong side and get absolutely racked up for no gain, 4th down and punt? I counted 3.
I think
There's a couple of those.
Yeah,
there was a couple of those.
Those were awful.
There was a couple of those.
After the first one, you'd be a little more dynamic. And by the way, if you watch the replay, guys, the ends were absolutely crashing in.
Yeah.
You fake that toss, and Beck could turn around and basically run for the first down. They were absolutely giving in all night long, and we never took advantage of that. So that's on Bobo.
There's a lot that can be discussed kind of moving forward with this team, right? They're not in the playoff. They're not.
Yeah.
But you've got to go now and play in the Orange Bowl against Florida State, who Florida State's going to be pretty pumped up, guys.
Mm-hmm.
You think so? Do you think so?
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I don't know. Look at us against Texas a few years ago. I think that's kind of the same mindset with FSU.
Yeah,
I mean,
Texas beat us.
I know exactly my point. I just don't. I think FSU's kind of going in there. Man, we should have been in the playoffs. I don't know. You know what? Does this game really matter? I mean, if we win the Orange Bowl, woohoo! If we lose the Orange Bowl, woo! I mean, come on. Does it matter?
I think this game matters. Yeah, I do.
I don't.
To who?
To me, I don't want to win 29 in a row and then lose 2 straight. I mean, I'm worried about this game. Georgia is a 13.5-point favorite right now.
James, does it matter to you?
I'm going to lie. I mean, we're going to be Georgia fans say, yeah, it really matters, but it doesn't really matter.
Exactly. It doesn't matter.
For the momentum.
It matters.
In what aspect?
It's not a no-matter game, but it's not win or lose. How does it change our trajectory going into next season?
It doesn't. It does.
Look, you can build off. There's numerous things that can happen here. You can have momentum off of this game, good or bad. You go into the offseason with a win. You bounce back, right? You show that you're able to bounce back. You get young kids in there because there's going to be a lot of opt-outs. There's going to be a lot of transfers. You're able to get the young kids in there and give them confidence. And look, let's not go crazy here, Eddie. 7 years ago, if Georgia was in a New Year's Six game, you would be absolutely shitting your pants right now in pure joy.
Okay, can I counter that by saying that's not what Georgia is now? They are not looking for the Orange Bowl on a New Year's Day. That's meaningless. We're beyond that. Kirby Smart has brought us beyond that, period.
Andy, can you back me up, please?
I think it matters. I think the momentum does matter because I do not want to lose 2 in a row. I think that is because then we just lost, we couldn't do the 30 in a row. And now we're not going to do 3 in a row. And now if they say, see, look, you played Alabama, you couldn't beat them. You played FSU, you couldn't beat them. You're not a playoff team. If we beat FSU, we can say we should have been there. We are one of the best 4, and we get the momentum going for the new season. So I want to win it.
By the way, I think we destroy FSU. FSU's not that good. I mean, they're just not. They have a good defense. Their offense is putrid. That's why they're not in the playoffs.
But do we have a lot of guys that don't play though?
Sure we do. I think we do.
List of guys that are that could potentially be out of it. And I mean,
this is perfect from Brett Weimer right here. He says,
exactly.
But we can't be champions or bust every year. It is unreasonable.
That is
it
correct.
is. That's
unreasonable sport. It's college football fans are unreasonable. Alabama fans are unreasonable. Georgia fans are unreasonable. Now, I want to win the game. I think Georgia wins the game. But I think even with the loss, Kirby's a good enough coach to rally them for next year. It would be embarrassing if we lost. I would say that. So that's why I want to win. But I'm not sitting here, marking my calendar for this game is all I'm saying.
So who asked that question? I'm sorry, Paul. Who asked that question about
what?
Brett Weimer.
Brett. Okay. Are Alabama fans champions or bust every year?
Yes.
Are they? Okay. Then why aren't we? Because we should be. But we're at that level. We're at that level right now.
They still would show up at the Orange Bowl, though, and cheer on their team.
Really?
Root for them.
Really? And we're not going to do that? Yeah. We will. Of course we will, Paul. But it's a disappointment. That is not what this program is now. It's not.
Look, but you lost 1 game by 3 points.
And it knocked us out. It knocked us out. It was the season.
And Alabama lost the game, and so did Texas. They're both in. So
Paul, we're out. It doesn't matter. You can say that over and over and over. We're out.
I get it, but what I'm saying is the season isn't over. You go win this game, show the playoff committee, go beat FSU 52-7.
Exactly. Go blow them out. Yes.
Yeah. We should have been in here, bud. You messed up.
I just said we're going to blow FSU out. I just said that.
Yeah.
But you can't tell me that we're all not disappointed with what happened last night and today because we're higher. I'm tired of this comparison. Well, Rick won 10 games a year. You should be happy with that. We're beyond that. We're way beyond that. And not winning a championship with this football team is a disappointment. I'm going to say it from now on. That's the way Georgia is right now. That's the program Kirby has built, and he wins championships. And that was disappointing last night.
I agree 100%. I think you are 100% right. I think we are on the level of Bama and Ohio State, whoever, Clemson, whoever is at that level. But I do think this game matters. I think it matters for the whole team. I think it matters for next year. I think it matters for the fans. I think the fans want to see us win and do not want to see us just be like, okay, screw it. There's no championship. Let's just mail it in. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that. But everything else, I agree 100%. So I think we need to win every game we play. I think we need to try 100%. So
Sacred Grove. He says you're right. It's a disappointment, but we still must get up for this game.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Sacred Grove.
There is. He says it matters for history. There is a big ass trophy you get for this game, and trust me, inside the Buttsmear building if they win. That's all I'm getting at. I got Gary waiting, James. I've had him waiting too. He's probably smoked 6 cigarettes back.
Thank you, James.
Thanks, James.
Appreciate you coming on, James. Take care of the baby.
Thanks.
See you, man. Boys, look, at the end of the day, you didn't make it, right?
Yeah.
But you lost by 3 points when Alabama lost by 10 at home, and they made it. And yes, they won the conference championship, but it's still just a game. It's on a neutral field. Gary, you've had 24 hours. You've probably
GG, what's up?
You've probably gone through 2 or 3 packs of the Marlboro Reds. How
I
do you feel it?
I don't usually smoke that much, guys. Hey, Paul, Andy, and Eddie, how y'all tonight?
Good.
How's it going, man?
Well, y'all might have covered this earlier because I didn't catch the beginning of the show. But how do y'all feel about the selection today?
We don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's I'm glad you brought this back up. We can go full circle on it real quick. There's the thoughts that the folks like Eddie have, where you win that game, you get in, you control your own destiny. Am I fair to say that, Eddie?
Wait, you talking about Bama?
No, I'm talking about you. You win. If Georgia wins that game, you have nothing to worry about. You control.
Oh, yeah. For Georgia,
There's a lot of folks that think that way, and that's kind of how Eddie's thoughts are. My thoughts are they kind of smashed between the two best teams or the four best teams and the four most deserving teams, and they kind of made this hodgepodge of four teams in there, and they didn't stick to either thing that they wanted to pick. Andy, I don't know where you're at, Andy. Are you somewhere in the middle of both of that, or?
Well, I think you win and you take care of what you got to take care of, and I think we did not.
So you're on the Eddie train.
I'm on Eddie train. Now, do I think Georgia's one of the best four teams? Yes, I do.
Oh, okay. You're asking should Georgia be in? That's what you're asking, Gary. I'm sorry. So
yeah,
no. I don't think Georgia should be in. I think that right there was the correct decision.
I wasn't asking if should Georgia be in.
Okay.
What? But I'm kind of. We all saying the same thing, though. Truthfully, if we won, we would have been in. Period.
Oh,
they couldn't have kept us out.
No, I mean we're number one.
And yes, Georgia should have won last night, and we should have been in, but we lost. And I thought about this for a while. Okay, I'm looking at it like this right here. Yes, and what Paul says is correct too. Because it is just a hodgepodge of two of the best teams and then the two of the ones that just want to get in there. Okay. Yeah. This is the way I'm looking at it. At least we got one team from the SEC in there.
Screw that. I don't care.
I don't give two shits about that.
No, Alabama they can drop a bomb on that stadium for all I care.
So you rather have Alabama left out?
Absolutely.
Okay, Eddie, let me ask you a question. What would that have accomplished?
That would have accomplished a 13-0 team who beat every team on their schedule with an injured quarterback. 13-0, they deserve to be in the playoffs. Period. Okay,
but
Florida State.
Look, you know what that would have done? They might as well just wrap that national championship up in wrapping paper and just melt it to Michigan to the.
How do we know that? They hadn't played yet. We don't know that. They got to play the game. We don't know that.
TCU beat Michigan.
Okay, great.
TCU got lucky. TCU got lucky because Michigan gave that game to them last year.
So we don't want to watch the game the games played on the field now. We're just going to assume that FSU is going to get blown out, so they're out. We don't let them play. That's ridiculous, Gary. Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
My second favorite team is FSU, guys. I didn't like FSU getting left out.
Okay, then what's your point?
My point is Michigan would have beat all three of them other teams.
Well, we thought that last year, and TCU beat them. I mean, I
don't understand your point. How Alabama getting in helps anything. I don't give two shits about other SEC schools getting in the playoffs. That doesn't help me or Georgia at all.
Hey, Eddie, I got a question. Who is your other team?
Who's my other?
You don't have another team.
What do you mean? Who is my other team?
You only care about one team, and that's.
That's exactly right.
I guess I'm more like Rowdy than all of y'all. I'm an SEC homer.
Not me. Yeah. Screw the SEC. I pull for the Georgia Bulldogs. I go there every day.
None of that helps any of us. Who cares?
Yeah. But I kind of see it. Look, I'm going to back up my boy Double G.
Oh my God, here we go.
Look, no, I can't let y'all just bang on my boy like that.
Why? He's wrong. No, go ahead, Paul. Go ahead.
He's a good guy.
Oh, he's a great guy, but
that has nothing to do with it. He is a great guy. But go ahead, Paul. Go ahead.
Look, I think I see where he's coming from. Maybe you don't. If you don't have to play that game last night, is what he's getting at. You don't have to play the game. Is what I think he's getting at. Is that what you're getting at, Gary? You can just not have to play the SEC championship game. Georgia gets in. Is that where you're going with this?
Yes.
See, I knew where his head was at.
Oh, so he was saying don't play the SEC championship game at all?
No, I think he was just saying like if that if you don't put Bama in, then that game's useless, is what he was getting at. I don't want to speak for the man, but I think that's what he was talking about. Gary, is that where you're at?
Yeah, that's where I'm at. And truthfully, going forward, it
is meaningless. It is meaningless going forward.
The conference
100%.
championship is meaningless because
Sure it is.
We got 12 teams next year.
Yeah,
Right.
well, it's not meaningless because of seeding, because of the conference champion will get
Yes,
the bye,
but think about this. If what happened last night happens next year, we play Penn State at home in 2 weeks. Can you imagine that crap?
That would be pretty epic. That'd be pretty.
That would be amazing.
I mean, my God.
Now, Eddie, don't get me wrong. I ain't dissing on you, and I ain't disagreeing with you because you actually talked me into liking the 12-team playoff last night, and nobody has ever done that since this came out that we're going to go to it.
So I kind of win just a little bit, Gary, right?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Don't give it to him, Gary. I appreciate you calling in, Gary. We'll see you. We'll see you for the bowl game, right?
Yeah. But I do think all games are important. Even though we're not going to play for a championship, this game's still important. It's a disappointment, yes, but it's still important.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you. Much
Y'all
love,
have
Gary.
a nice night and be blessed.
Thank you, Gary. Appreciate it.
See ya.
I love how he's on it almost like, was he on a rocking chair?
Yeah, he's got it going. I think he's on his phone and
he's on a rocking chair. He's on a
So
rocking chair.
great. And I guarantee he probably made the rocking chair he's in, right?
Yeah, that's a bad dude right there. That's a bad dude. Look.
I see Foster Moss, Chris Taylor, Alex Page. Come on, guys, y'all got to get in here. That Alex Page, that dude knows football.
Yeah, Foster. I would like to hear Foster. Come on.
Look, y'all went at my boy too hard. He was getting upset. I could tell.
Well, I saw.
Oh, come on. That's what we do here. We bust chops.
Look,
I mean, come on.
I know, but he might not know that. I had to make sure he was all right.
Oh,
All right, well, text him a little message, Paul, and tell him we're all good. I mean, my God.
I don't have Gary's number.
He's a great guy, but I do not look the whole. Beat my chest about the SEC. Screw that.
Yeah, I hate that. I've always hated that. I don't care. If Florida's playing in the national championship, are we rooting for them because they're in the SEC?
Screw them.
Hell no.
All right, so here's a question, guys. We're running out of time here. I want to get to this. Let's talk about the brackets here.
Okay.
Who's the matchups, Andy? Walk us through them. What time are they? Where are they? Walk us through all that.
We have how far do you just want to go in the? Are you want the New Year's Six bowls?
Yeah, just New Year's Six because those games matter.
Okay. Okay, so the semifinal is the Sugar Bowl, which I was a little surprised that Washington and Texas are going to the Sugar Bowl, and that Alabama and Michigan are going out to the Rose Bowl. That was a little surprising to me, but I guess Michigan wanted to hit the Rose Bowl.
Sure, that makes sense.
But so you got Michigan and Bama. They're going to be playing at 5:00 on January the 1st. In the Rose Bowl, and then you have Washington and Texas playing in the Sugar Bowl at January the 1st at 8:45, and then of course you have the Fiesta Bowl, which is going to be on January the 1st, and that is Oregon versus Liberty. That may be one-sided. You have the Orange Bowl, which is December the 30th, which is on the 2nd, which is Georgia versus Florida State. That's 4 p.m. on December the 30th. And then you also have the Peach Bowl, which is noon on December the 30th. That's Ole Miss versus Penn State. And that Friday night at 8 p.m. in the Cotton Bowl, Missouri versus Ohio State.
Well,
I'm looking forward to that game.
That's going to be a war. Yeah.
Is it going to be a war, or is Missouri going to take them to the woodshed and beat the crap out of them? I think Missouri just walks the dog with them. I think they're going to stomp them.
All right, so we've got them set, right?
Yep.
Let's start off with the first. Well, walk us through them, Andy.
Okay, let's start from here. All right, who do you got on the Cotton Bowl? Missouri versus Ohio State on December the 29th.
Spreads? You have spreads with you, Andy?
I can get that really fast.
While you're getting that,
they did release spreads, didn't they?
Yeah, I'm sure they have. Yeah. I'm taking Mizzou.
Regardless of the spread.
Yeah, I don't
just taking them.
Wow. I don't care about the spread. Taking Mizzou.
Well, I said to you guys a few weeks ago that Missouri's the hottest team. If we had a 12-game playoff, who wants to play Missouri right now?
Yeah,
nobody.
Missouri's
really
tough.
Good.
Did you see Eli Drinkwitz
Oh, that was awesome. That was what a troll job. That was brilliant. I really like Eli. He's really grown on me, man. That was good. Go ahead and say it, Paul.
Yeah.
Explain what happened.
Well, yeah. So he's on there with Reese Davis. He holds up his phone. It's at the end of their interview, right after they tell him that he's in a New Year's Six Bowl, and he says, "Hey, look, hold on. I got a phone call from Connor Stallions here, giving me some insider info." And Reese Davis just lost it.
Yeah,
that's so great.
That's what's fantastic. Good. Reese Davis is so professional. He doesn't normally lose it, and he just lost it.
You saw Reese when he said, "Hey guys, I got a phone call to take." You saw Reese kind of like,
yeah, he's like, what?
You're on here with us, like,
yeah.
And then instantly he realized what it was, and it was.
That was awesome.
What's the spread on that?
So Ohio State is the 6.5 point favorite.
Holy crap!
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll take Mizzou in that. I'll take
Mizzou winning straight up. Yeah,
I agree. I agree with that.
Yeah. All right. Our next game is the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. You got Ole Miss versus Penn State, and and you have Penn State. Let's see. Let me find those guys in. So Penn State's the 3.5 point favorite.
I'll take Ole Miss. Penn State's offense is just atrocious.
I don't know if I'm going to watch that. I don't know if I'm going to watch that game, boys. To be honest with you,
I'm watching it.
I'll watch all of them. When I say that, but if I was to rank them, that's probably the one that I could.
Yeah, that's low. Yeah, that makes sense.
Penn State, good defense. I'll go Penn State.
I don't even think their defense is that good. I got Ole Miss winning outright.
Okay. What's the next one?
Our next game is the Orange Bowl, and Georgia
who's in that?
That would be the Georgia Bulldogs and the
That's right.
And Georgia is the 13.5 point favorite.
Man, I think that line's going to change once you see how many guys are opting out of this and transferring. But I'll take Georgia, but not to cover that.
I was going to say they're not going to cover that. They
Georgia
just don't
wins.
cover.
They don't. Georgia wins. They don't cover.
Win that game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you writing these down, Andy?
Oh shoot, no.
Okay, you can later. Keep going.
I'll go back and rewatch. Yeah,
we can text each other later. It's okay.
Sounds good. All right, so now we got the Fiesta Bowl. We have Liberty versus Oregon, and Oregon is the 16 point favorite.
Is Bo Nix going to play in that game?
I bet he does. I don't think.
Yeah, I bet he does.
He doesn't seem like an opter-outer. So.
In Oregon, yeah. I mean, Oregon's going to probably destroy those guys.
Hey, let me ask you guys a question since we're on Bo Nix. And I watched the Falcons today, and that was the most atrocious game I've ever watched.
No.
If Bo Nix is there later, would you take him?
No.
You wouldn't?
No.
Is he better than Desmond Ritter?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Desmond Ritter.
I'm not wasting a first round pick on both.
I didn't say first round. I did not say first round pick. I said later. I meant like second or third.
Fourth round, I'll take him.
No, I don't know about that, but
I'll take both picks in the third, but I wouldn't take him in. Yeah. So Paul, you took Oregon and the cover. So
we got to get back to that. I know we only got 10 minutes left, but
Brett Weimer said Eddie's had a rough weekend. He has.
You damn right I have. I'm not the only one. Am I the only one that's had a rough weekend?
No. I see you, Alex. I see you, see Taylor. I'm gonna get you guys on before you head out real quick. I just want to.
So Paul, you took Oregon to cover, 16 point favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, Liberty's not. Yeah.
All right, Eddie's got Oregon to cover. Okay. All right.
Now he's writing them down.
Yeah, I'm doing it now, but I can go back and do it. Okay, so then our next game is going to be the first round of the playoffs. Alabama Crimson Tide versus the Michigan Wolverines, and Michigan is currently the 1.5 point favorite.
I'm gonna take. I think Michigan wins. I think they mix it up on the line of scrimmage. They can deal with them on the line of scrimmage, and they can beat them.
Cover that 1.5.
Guys, were y'all that impressed with Bama last night? Was Bama like a world beater? Were they like, oh my God, they're so scared? No.
What they did last night to us is what they will do to Michigan, and they'll do it more. Their defensive
line.
Do
you think Michigan plays like total shit like we did last night? Because I don't.
I don't think Michigan's offensive line is that good anyway. I'm taking Alabama to outright win.
I'll take Bama.
God, I hate both of you.
All right. Then the next round of the play, or the first round, is the Texas versus Washington, and Texas is the 4 point favorite.
Jeez, this is a tough one. I'm gonna stick with Washington. I picked them all year long. I picked them to go to the Final Four. I'm gonna stick with Washington.
You're taking Washington to outright win the 4 point. Okay.
Texas.
All right. Do you take Texas to win cover the 4 or just to win?
Yeah, they'll cover it.
Okay.
They might win by 14.
I agree. I have Texas winning that game big. I do not think Washington is very good.
Everybody's overlooked Washington all year long.
Yeah, I think I got Texas to win it, and that means all right. So that means I have Alabama playing Texas in a rematch in the national championship. I will take Alabama to win that game and avenge that loss and win the national championship.
I've got Alabama, Texas as well. Man, I'm gonna go Texas.
Okay.
So Eddie, you got who?
Michigan, Washington. Michigan wins it.
You got Michigan and Washington. Okay,
Yep.
You got Michigan. Okay.
There it is. Let's bring these two guys on real quick. We're gonna get kicked off of here in a couple of minutes. I want to bring on Alex Page and we'll do C Taylor at the same time. We'll go $5 here.
Nice.
What's up, guys?
What's up, gentlemen?
What's going on?
Man, tough times, right? But real quick, this game, this Orange Bowl, this does mean something, right? Eddie's by himself on that. It doesn't mean anything.
Every time you step between the lines, it means something.
Right there.
Wait a minute.
No,
That's a little
no,
strong. I did not say it didn't mean anything. I'm just saying Georgia's program is above this game. That's all I meant. They're above this game. That's it.
This definitely is met with disappointment. I completely agree with you, Eddie, on that. And
Thank you.
I think you go in and I think it's like mentality situation. Like you
Right.
and you go in and you're disappointed when you lose, and you gauge like your success level on where you end up, and you should be disappointed if you're Georgia right now.
Right.
So I hear what you're saying for sure, and it's too far to say the game doesn't matter because it does. I mean, you want to have momentum, you want to have good habits, all those things, culture building, all that stuff.
Yeah, that's how I feel. That's what I feel.
And I'm also thinking of last night, which was less than 24 hours ago. This game is in 30 days or whatever. Things will change between now and then. I mean,
27 days.
I mean,
yeah.
whatever.
You're already walking it back within the hour. By the time that we get to the December 30th,
you completely glossed over my point. That's just what you do, and it just pisses me off. Go ahead.
In 3 weeks, those text messages. This is the most important game ever for the Bulldogs.
I will not be saying that. Bullshit. I'm gonna call bullshit on that.
I'm gonna go back probably to the beginning segment just because this is in my head. But I think that I'm with you, Eddie, and I think everybody is like Georgia shouldn't be in. Okay, I'm concede that you had your shot to make your plays and you didn't make them, and that's what you want. You want to be in games that get you in if you win, right? Right. That's the
100%.
worst thing for FSU. But I think the thing that's the pill that's tough to swallow to me is you woke up on Saturday and there was kind of this like general like Georgia is the best team in the country, right? They were considered number one, and then we have you fill in the blank of like any number of plays that you feel like cost the game, and now they're the sixth best.
Yeah,
I'm like, I don't that the inequity of that is like tough. I'm like,
no, yeah,
I don't even think we should be in the playoff, but I absolutely think we're one of the best 4 teams in the country.
Yep. Yeah. That is exactly how I feel, Chris.
And to your point, Chris, Paul Feinbaum actually made a great point today before the playoff list was revealed.
Yeah.
In the fact that he mentioned that the ACC commissioner, Big Ten, and I guess the Pac-12 too, like those commissioners screwed the pooch last year because they voted against the playoff.
They did.
So it would have been implemented this year. So then, had it been implemented, now you're basically, like I told a friend of mine this morning, basically you're debating who are the 11th and 12th best teams,
right.
In terms of who should be the 11th and 12th best, or 12th. The 11th and 12th teams in the playoff instead of who is in essence the top 4.
But Alex, once you get to the 11th and 12th teams, there's not a huge debate there compared to
no.
It's a lot smaller.
Yeah. Now once you get down there, the debate is different.
Right.
I mean, because then you're talking about Liberty, you're talking about Troy, you're talking about SMU or Tulane if Tulane at 1. So you're talking about those teams versus who should be 4th, so to speak. So.
But who did Chris makes a great point. Who did Bama just beat? Did they beat the number 1 team in the country?
Yeah.
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 and suddenly we're not, right? So that win is supposed to mean something, right? They beat the number 1 team in the country, and then we get dropped to 6th.
I guess it meant enough to get them in the playoff over an undefeated FSU is what it meant.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I know some of y'all mentioned. Yeah. I'm sorry. I was about to say. So I know some of y'all mentioned about the potential of a skeleton crew from a Georgia standpoint. I don't at least 30 days before the game. I don't feel like they're going to have as many people potentially leave.
I don't think so either.
I shouldn't say leave, but not play.
Opt out. Game. Yeah, I don't think so either.
Yeah, maybe not opt
because
out.
of some effect from when you talking about upperclassmen. I mean, you're talking about like Cedric Van Pran. I don't see him opting out of the game.
No.
Yeah, Kendall Milton already said he's going to be there.
Yeah, Kendall Milton said he's playing.
The only potential one, potentially, obviously, will be Brock, and everyone understand. But I don't even see him doing it. No,
I don't either. Just the way that kid's wired.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah.
And then also sidebar to your comment about Bo Nix over Desmond Ridder. I mean, you could just flip a coin at that point. Now, granted, Eddie, you got to give the Jets credit for their defense. I mean, it's not like
the Jets have a great defense. There's no doubt about it. But that game was 100 years ago. What we watched today. I mean, that was brutal.
Well, Eddie, at the very least, you didn't have to watch the Patriots and Chargers play.
Oh, but I hate both those teams. I care about the Falcons.
Well, I understand, but I'm saying you're talking about the Falcons Jets score being 13-8 and being like old school football. At least you have to sit through 6-0.
Yeah. Well,
is that what they finished today? 6-0?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh boy.
My, how times have changed, huh?
Hey, Alex and Chris, I appreciate it. We got to get out of here. Film don't lie.
Thank you, boys.
Appreciate it.
We'll see you guys next week.
Hey, put us up a comment right quick. That last comment.
Well, Bill Shanks is watching.
Right there, Bill Shanks coming in strong.
Coach came in on. There he is. Hey, Dane Young. What's happening on Film Don't Lie?
Man,
hi, Dane.
We have like 45, 50 plays, something like that over the course of 4 videos that we're about to pop out here. We're trying to show everyone what happened in this game. And I don't think there's going to be a lot of surprises. I'll tell you that in the rewatch, a lot of this was Georgia not blocking well, not even getting to the point where they were able to block well. I'm talking Ernest Green. I'm talking Oscar Delp. We'll see some of that in this first video. Then Milroe did not beat Georgia passing, but he beat him with his feet.
So you asked me last night, Dane, when I laid my head down, what was the one play that stood out to me and I couldn't get out of my head? And I told you that, right? It was when Tresman Marshall recovered the fumble. What's the play for you?
The one that I have come back to that no one is really talking about, it's the one right before the one that could have been reviewed, the Bond catch. Georgia had Alabama at 3rd and 21 and go to Niblack and get 16 yards.
Yeah.
If Georgia slows them there, forces a punt, that's in Georgia's control.
Yeah.
And they gave up a 16-yard pass to Niblack. So.
But he could have called a timeout there and had that play reviewed, right? Should have.
I don't know what they saw, what they didn't see. Initially, what I saw on TV, I thought it was a full-on catch. It took super slow-mo for me to see what we all ended up seeing. So, I don't know what they're thinking down on the field level. Anyway, we'll show you all that. We have 4 Film Don't Lie videos focusing on Georgia's passing offense, Georgia's running offense, which was kind of a struggle in itself. You'll see why. And then what Milroe did to Georgia. And then we're going to end on a positive note, some successful defensive plays that we saw from Georgia. Jalen Walker needed to play more, Paul.
Hey, Garrett Key says, does Dane have an FSU shirt under that pullover? He absolutely does. Guys, we'll see you next Sunday. Thanks so much.